the start button for YouTube. That would explain that.
Ah! We obviously regret to inform you that today's episode will not be a silly one, though we'll try to find something for you to smile about later in the video. Unfortunately, as is all too common, there has been another mass shooting by a total piece of human garbage on completely innocent people just trying to do one of the many things that used to be a completely normal activity in this country before decades of high-powered weapons turned every mundane trip into a risky venture in the only country where this routinely happens. And I'm sorry that we aren't mentally capable of covering the details of the victims in these situations, because reading the witness accounts over the weekend, it gave me a physical reaction that almost forced me to throw my phone across the room.
Yeah, there was the main one going around where...
I don't want to relive...
I'm not going to do it, but
and there was also
I also made the
on...
mistake of it just fucking showed up on my timeline. I'm like, oh, that's a pile of fucking bodies that have just been
I was
turned
able
into
to
Swiss
avoid
cheese.
that.
Great.
Very
yeah, no, it was
noticeably.
just on my timeline. I did not seek it out. It was just there. I fucking saw it, and people were weirdly justifying it, be like, people need to see the damage. I'm like, I don't... Listen.
Not me. I agree with you.
Like, I
The
don't...
people that need to see this are your conservative representatives who, at one point, claimed that Texas needed to buy more guns because they were losing in the buying guns war.
I genuinely am actually opposed to that. I think more people do need to see the aftermath of this, of mass shootings, 100%. And it's a very, very simple reason. In its current state, no one is standing up against this shit. No one. Otherwise, the laws would be changed. No one is standing up for this. No one's standing up for the common person. And it's a huge fucking problem. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. This shit is going to continue to happen because we, as a country, have just refused utterly to make any difference on it. Fuck, man. Okay. I guess let's just keep pointing fingers at stupid shit that has absolutely nothing to do with the actual fucking problems here.
Against California.
You should not need to see what was in that video, which I'm not even going to fucking describe, but it is truly fucking awful. You should not need to see that with your eyes to, empathize with the people.
He's right. You shouldn't have to see that. However, we don't live in a country where we have a healthy emotional intelligence. We just don't. We don't have healthy empathy here. The few people that do are just overwhelmed by it.
Who are affected by this.
Yeah. Truly
very upsetting shit.
Horrific.
Anyway, what we can do is try to provide some clarity on the situation because, of course, the waters are already being muddied by exactly who you would expect to muddy the waters when clearly the motivation here is... right-wing and Nazi-ish and directly inspired by a lot of names you can probably guess at.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't really want to have to clarify all this, but we are finding ourselves in the position where we have to do that on a more and more frequent basis because of the sheer volume, variety, and scope of disinformation that has been pouring out of social media. Disinformation that is now heightened by one specific site's power users, influencers, and even its own CEO, Elon Musk, the world's smartest man. Clearly, whatever he's saying must be true. He has really shown his ass in the past couple of weeks. I mean, past couple years, yes, but especially
it's been cranked up.
Especially recently.
And then there's people
especially
like
when
me
it comes
who've
to where
been saying he's fucking trash because of how he treats people. But apparently that isn't what qualifies you as a good or bad person. It's just how much money you have. Don't know when the fuck that ever came into being.
he stands
That's
politically
just a
and morally,
piss-poor
despite his
method.
constant claims of being
Wealth in this country isn't even a good show of skill. Half the people that have riches never earned them. They just either inherited them or, product of circumstance. Jeff Bezos, for instance, started a bookstore that has really good logistics and carried it from there. Now it's like the everything store because it's just the option that people have. And that's the other thing right there. Option. It's the only one. Like, that's part of the problem.
Centrist.
Yeah.
You're not. He's gone very quickly from posting somewhat shocking but predictable takes on current events, uncle posting, to boosting, reacting to, and even propagating just outright racism and harmful conspiracy theories, and in pretty much every case, shit that is easily fact-checkable.
Yeah.
Just like Elon, you are reacting to information that is wrong and is presented in a way to appeal to races. Anyway, he really seems to be alluding to the fact that some kind of psyop must have taken place in Allen, Texas this past weekend. This just doesn't add up. What's going on?
Anyone not learn anything from the very recent Alex Jones trials or the literal reality that we've all been forced to live through over the years? No.
No, they didn't.
Of course not. We might actually live in hell. Some of the things the richest and therefore smartest man and owner of Twitter posted over the weekend include, among other things related to the shooting, an outrageous response to a protest in New York City over the death of Jordan Neely, which read, "Why didn't they protest when the children were murdered at the Christian school? They are disingenuous."
Huh.
Bitch, are you blind?
Yes.
Or intentionally stupid?
Yes.
Yes.
There were large-scale demonstrations in the state's capital that resulted in the removal of 3 lawmakers, 2 of which were ousted from their positions by Republicans. It was nationwide news, inescapable.
It was a pretty, it was a mainline topic on a little website called Twitter that you might be familiar with. It was trending and everything.
In regards to the Allen, Texas shooting, though, on Monday evening after the identity and posts were revealed of the shooter, Musk responded to a post that claimed the whole thing is clearly a psyop with this response: "This gets weirder by the moment." Which, look, you can read between the lines here. He's not just replying that, this is strange. He's replying to a post that claims that it's a psyop, that is a post that is replying to Ian Miles Chong. And
Yeah.
he is therefore boosting it algorithmically by his own response that allows people to question the validity of the shooter, the shooting, everything related to
Also,
the whole
I believe
thing.
the person he was responding to is like one of Tim Pool's, like, peanut gallery. And they obviously have a certain vested interest in this
Diverting
being
attention.
because the killer he seemed to really, really like watching videos from Tim Pool, among
Yeah.
others, but especially Tim Pool, and that just doesn't make sense. Why would someone who's a Nazi watch Tim Pool, who's just your average classical liberal?
Yeah. So just the response from Elon, though, we don't really have to tell you that he's tossing a gas canister onto an already raging fire by even responding
Shocker.
to this nonsense.
Yeah, but before we get off track here, let's just go through the laundry list of false theories, intentionally deceptive narratives, and straight up misinformation from the past couple days. And then maybe we can take a moment to collectively laugh at King Charles and his dumb fucking outfits, because that was fucking weird, wasn't it?
Yeah. Actually, here, look at this uncomfortable goober. We are not a serious planet.
It does make me feel better that he does not seem to be enjoying any of this.
No,
That actually makes this kind of cool.
I'll make a point about that later, but let's get back to the story at hand.
So yeah, okay, here we go.
I wonder if that guy even wants to be there. It genuinely, like, that King Charles genuinely looked like I fucking rather be doing anything than this. This is absolute waste of time.
The shooter's name was released, and every chud on Twitter instantly reacted with a bunch of verifiably false takes, which included, but are not limited to, he was a member of a cartel, he was an illegal immigrant, he was a member of the LGBTQ community, and also included countless posts of an inaccurate mugshot linked to someone with the same.
Always funny when the shooter's right wing, they keep coming up with all these strange theories. None of them are accurate, but for some reason, there are still idiots out there that believe this shit. I guess they're the average Twitter user. Never mind.
same name, but not the same person. An image that would continue to be used later on as proof that the real identity and beliefs of the shooter were somehow false. The truth, which has been verified through social media accounts used by the shooter and confirmed by local and federal investigations, is that he was a fucking neo-Nazi. He was a white supremacist with countless posts that spread racism and glorified Hitler.
What more do you need? Like, it's literally been stated time and time again. They are literally domestic terrorists. They're not funny. They're not cute. It's fucking disgusting. You know, like, my relatives would shoot and kill Nazis because they were in a war. You might have remembered it, where the Nazis lost like the fucking losers they are. Yeah, might want to look in your history on that, buddy.
Nazi. He was a white supremacist with countless posts that spread racism and glorified Hitler, while also watching Tim Pool videos and name dropping libs of TikTok. And during the massacre that he did, he was wearing a right-wing Death Squad patch on his body. It seems like this man's motivations were pretty fucking clear.
And was taken down off of the merch site immediately following this.
And
so.
I mean, yeah, the guy who dug up because like his social posts were on some network I've never even heard of.
It was like a Russian social media.
Yeah,
site.
but like very thorough stuff. Like
and posts that go back over a year.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, how do we know it's this guy? Well, he was posting a lot about the fucking mall that he did his massacre at, like right beforehand. That's weird.
Yeah, also
Like,
all of the identifying evidence, the hand tattoo specifically, is on the body.
And they're like, well, why do all of his Nazi tattoos look so fresh? It's like he took pictures of his tattoos
when they were fresh.
Yeah. God damn it.
It's all very maddening. And yes, this was corroborated by the FBI. There's been bulletins and internal emails. It doesn't matter. It's the truth. But look,
But Ricky, he was not white. How could he be a white supremacist?
The drooling mouths of countless blue check brain Twitter users dribbled out, but he's Hispanic. It's simply not possible for him to have been a white supremacist or a Nazi, despite that obviously being possible. And not just possible, but a distinct and growing trend.
Yeah, no,
Like,
this...
it certainly takes a lot of cognitive dissonance to explain that there's no possible way that someone of Hispanic descent can't possibly be a white supremacist when a not insignificant portion of the people claiming that are clearly aware of the existence of Nick Fuentes.
Also, side story that we're not going to get into, but they finally identified the pink beret girl from January 6th. This young woman kind of looked out of place wearing a pink beret, but participated in January 6th. And yeah, she's a Latina woman from California, and she was identified because some dude she dated like 3 years ago saw her picture. And he was like, wait, what the fuck? That's Jennifer. We used to go out. He told the news, he's like, she started talking a lot about Mein Kampf. And I was like, yeah, that's not what I'm really into. I don't think this is going to work.
Anyways, social media posts unearthed by Bellingcat researcher and later confirmed by authorities and news outlets clearly show the shooter as an unhinged Nazi whose online presence included numerous posts about his love of Hitler, photos of his literal Nazi tattoos, photos and screenshots of the mall where the shooting took place, photos of his Kevlar vest with the patches, screenshots of Tim Pool videos, and at least one post that he said was, quote, inspired by libs of TikTok.
Oh, also another thing, so the Nazi, punk and metal community is weirdly, I wouldn't say it's big, but there is that community exists in Southern California and the Southwest, and most of the bands, not what we would call Anglo white people. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. But yeah, this phenomenon is real. These people, it's so fucking annoying. They always act like it's literally impossible for someone with brown skin to be a Nazi. That's not, it happens. I'm sorry. It does. Anyway, there's numerous photos which confirm the tattoos on this guy's body, including photos of the body of the shooter from the scene where they are visible, and posts where he talks about his tattoos. Federal and local investigators have also confirmed the background of the shooter. Eric Toller has posted countless images and proof of the shooter's identity, beliefs, and intentions, as well as posts that show he was preparing for the attack leading up to it. The basics of this information have been corroborated by investigators with an FBI bulletin reading, The FBI's review and triage of the suspect's social media accounts revealed hundreds of postings and images to include writing with racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist rhetoric, including neo-Nazi materials and material espousing the supremacy of the white race. But before any of this was even known, the Republican representatives of the city and state were already mobilized and ready to finally solve the problem at the root of all these shootings. And we figured it out, guys. There's not enough thoughts and prayers.
That has to be it.
We gotta bump those numbers up. We need more thoughts and more prayers.
Although at this point, I might be inclined to believe that thoughts and prayers are having the opposite effect, because it really seems as though the amount of mass shootings has risen alongside the popularity of the term thoughts and prayers.
Yes, it doesn't.
I will forever rag on people that use that thoughts and prayers horseshit, because all it is a way to sidestep any kind of a responsibility, any kind of a care. It's really just a way of saying, I don't give a shit and I'm not going to do anything about it. That's what thoughts and prayers really means. I was told to hold talks at Facebook. Oh my god. It's nice to see Ashley hasn't changed even one bit. So I just want to take a break from the news, as it were. Ashley Team India? You mean like most of the IT, because they've outsourced a ton of stuff?
Doesn't seem to really be doing.
So I think they still call themselves an American company. I don't think they can, but
Much at
No.
all.
Ted Cruz
well, actually, we're in America. Everyone can claim that. Even foreign entities claim that. So what's it really matter at this point?
did his standard. Heidi and I are sending our thoughts.
It's completely meaningless. I'm an American company. Who fucking cares? What does that mean? Half your IT is outsourced? Because that's what it usually means. Like, I don't even understand how that's something you could be proud of these days.
prayers.
Don't.
But even he.
Hold on. Someone noticed there was a double space because he
Yeah.
literally.
What did he add there? Yeah.
No, he literally copied and pasted. Like, he has a fucking template
Yeah.
where he just adds what he.
There was some fake tweets going around that like showed a copy and pasted thing that wasn't entirely accurate. But yeah, he has to do this like once a week.
Yeah.
So yes, it is probably something that he's just like, all right, well, how do we change the messaging this time? But yes, no, it's pretty much your standard. We're sending our thoughts and prayers to the community. But even Ted Cruz was outshined by the representative for the area where this took place, a man named Keith Self, who appeared on CNN in the aftermath to say that we just aren't playing hard enough. And also,
And it's just hilarious. It's all right-wing stuff again. They're always just so fucking off their rocker wrong on this shit.
that which seems kind of antithetical to the previous message, that God is in control of our lives, all of our lives. Here you go.
Now, you know, Congressman, that is a common refrain after these incidents, after mass shootings, but many people argue that prayers aren't cutting it, prayers are not preventing the next mass shooting. What is your response to that criticism?
Well, those are people that don't believe in an almighty God who is absolutely in control of our lives. I'm a Christian. I believe that he is. We have people, though, with mental health that we're not taking care of. Since this nation made the decision that we were going to close the mental health institutions, many of these situations are based on that.
So yeah, really weird.
Cool. God's plan.
Really weird thing to say that God is in control when someone just killed 8 people, but also wild that he would bring up the mental health crisis when it's one of the most difficult treatments to gain access to in a country where it's already incredibly difficult to access, utilize, or afford even
basic healthcare. Yeah, I've had a full-time job for like the past 2-3 years now, and zero capability of actually affording health insurance on any level. That's America that we live in. That's what we have to be proud of. Why the fuck are people joining the military at this point? What are you fighting for? Are you fighting for the right for other people to kill other people? Are you fighting for the right for shooters to go into schools and shoot our children? I don't know what the fuck you're fighting for. Like, this is what we as a country have to be proud of.
the most basic parts of our
Man, this
outrageous
shit gets me
healthcare
livid.
industry.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this country's in a mental health crisis. Like, all right, well, what are we going to do about it?
Okay, cool.
Nothing. I just want to acknowledge that we have a mental health crisis.
I
in this
agree with
country.
you. What can be done?
Yeah. And I mean, like, there are, even if you want to just treat it as like a mental health crisis, like, yeah, there are definitely things that could be done, which, first and foremost,
Yeah, they're
make going to fucking therapy not like extremely expensive. Like,
yeah. Maybe those sessions shouldn't be $500 an hour to talk to someone. Maybe if it was actually affordable for the common person. $500 an hour? Are you fucking serious? The average person, they would have to work like 2 or 3 fucking weeks to get that. Oh, you don't believe me? Well, unfortunately, you just don't know how the fuck this shit works these days. And hell, that's just to get that much money. That's not even to say it's going to be spendable on that, because they probably have other bills, like, I don't know, rent. Like, hell, in the state of Florida, rent is on average higher than what you can make at our literal fucking minimum wage. And not even by a little.
prohibitively expensive
Yeah.
for the vast majority of this country. Like, come on. But, you know, you do that, you make therapy free, then you gotta make the dentist free, then you gotta make...
Not free, paid
no,
for by our tax dollars.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Don't get caught into that little loophole that people like to do the gotcha with.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's famous for that. Oh, free? Who's paying for it? Yeah, no, the taxes you pay, which very, very high, despite what you for some reason think we are like a country with ultra low taxes. No, comparatively we do pay a lot of tax, but we get nothing in return.
Yep.
Except for a bunch of really cool jets that fly over sports stadiums.
That's my jet. I paid for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they also note that this is a result of shuttering of mental health facilities, which is it's a pretty incredible thing to say, because Ronald Reagan bears direct responsibility for that, yet he is lauded as one of the greatest Republican presidents of all time. And this policy was overwhelmingly popular within his party. The mental health crisis is one of the many lines that's currently being trotted out and repeated as a way to divert focus away from all that the Nazi shit. Much like with Harlan Crow.
Yeah.
Why are you so focused on the Nazi stuff? But yeah, it's important to ask yourself a few things here. One, despite mental health issues being an international issue, not unique to America, why is it only the U.S. that sees mass shootings like this so regularly if mental health is responsible? Two, what in all honesty do you think Republicans are going to do to make access to mental health services easily accessible and affordable? Nothing? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't give a shit about that stuff, and they never have. They've had the option to do that for many, many times over the years and have refused to do it. The only Democrat that's decided to try to do anything for fucking healthcare was Obama. What's that fucking tell you?
And, the other answer from
Maybe we should stop electing gross old fucking white people that don't give a shit about the rest of us.
conservatives for how to deal with all this is to apparently just be prepared to take someone's life every single time you leave the house.
What a way to live.
Anyone you encounter in your day-to-day is your potential murderer. Plan accordingly. Here's Alex Coker during the Fox News coverage of this latest mass shooting. This is some real,
I don't want to live here stuff.
this is America.
A better world is certainly possible. We shouldn't have to live like this kind of stuff.
This is America as a parody of itself. Let's go. Check it out.
And just like General Mathis once said, be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet because you never know.
Cool.
So,
Personally,
yeah.
I'd prefer not to.
Yeah, I wish this wasn't like that.
Maybe the mental health crisis in this country is people giving themselves fucking anxiety, because anxiety is literally just being afraid of things that aren't there. Usually it's caused by a hormonal imbalance that puts your body into a fight or flight mode when it need not be. But also, you can put yourself into that manually by convincing yourself that any moment of your life you might need to actually kill someone.
And then, well, I don't want to say it, but also, the readily available weapons that you can just mow people down with. That seems to be the one thing that's different in this country with other.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed to say that. It's a very hot button issue.
Like if you ban guns, the criminals just find the guns anyway. And as you can see in every other country, there's just as many criminals with guns. Wait, no, there fucking isn't. But I'm going to keep arguing that because it sounds good to me.
But for the love of that apparently very deaf God, let's change the subject to something way sillier for a moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The coronation of King Charles.
Kneel before your king.
It was
whoops, a
pretty
little
much,
too much there.
we filmed before the coronation took place.
Yeah, it aired in the middle. Very inconsiderate of the British to air this in the middle of the night.
I know, I agree. But it was everything that we'd hoped it would be and
wild.
more. Yeah. Quite a spectacle.
I would not even recommend watching all of it, but just go to the live stream and click around. It's
Yeah.
it's
Any
just,
frame that
it's
you
just
land
so
on.
fucking weird. The whole thing's so weird.
Yeah, every frame a work of art.
Yes.
Also,
And the people watching,
people watching is incredible.
I knew Charles was gonna be dressed up like a fucking clown, but everyone in that church is, it's wild. It's
yeah. And
it's great.
I specifically, I scooted around to see who was covering it in the middle of the night because I was up, no lifing it, just to see. And I landed on CNN, and it was everyone involved, so in loved, enamored, and obsessed with every single thing that was going on.
Americans yearn to be subjugated by the royals once again.
They were.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just can't.
Anyways,
I hear so little about the royalty over there. I just don't give a shit. It's a wonder. There's so many people that are just obsessed with that nonsense. Least of all their own country. That's just some.
Also,
weird...
over the weekend, videos were released of
I don't
Donald
think it's
Trump
healthy,
during
but
his
okay.
deposition. The sexual assault case that he's facing from E. Jean Carroll. A case where Trump's main evidence for himself was that he wouldn't have done anything with this woman because she's, quote, not his type.
I only bang tens. He basically this was shocking even to me, where I was like, damn, this is okay. So he's going with the
She's ugly.
Going with that defense. All right. And he even told the attorney questioning him, he's like, even you
Take a look.
You're not my type either.
Yeah.
Sorry, no offense, but I wouldn't bang.
Yeah. In the video deposition that was released and spread online, Trump is, aside from just, being Trump, also confuses E. Jean Carroll with his ex-wife, Marla Maples.
I don't even know who the woman, let's see, I don't know who, it's Marla.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla, yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No, that's
Here.
Carol.
Oh, is that,
The person you
okay.
just pointed to was
Oh, I
E. Jean
see.
Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this?
Point, your wife. And the woman on the right is your then wife,
I don't know.
Ivana?
This was the picture. I assume that's John Johnson. Is that
That's Carol.
Carol? Because it's very.
I can't even. I can't even. This dude was in charge of our fucking country. Can we please have our voting systems double checked? This is disgustingly stupid at this point. One person, one vote, period.
blurry.
So yeah, it's obviously pretty bad that Trump can't identify.
Again, this is one of those, I genuinely do feel like all phones should come with a voting app in America. That literally at any given time, the government can just ping an idea out and the actual American people, one person, one vote, will actually be able to vote on that and give it 24, 40, 48 hours. Give it 2 days to give people enough time to actually hit their buttons. And then let's see what happens. Let's see what actually gets done in this country. And it's just like even the people that would be behind the app would just have such an insight into how America really feels too. Like that data would just be absolutely fucking priceless because it's gonna shit all over every major news network.
By his ex-wife in a photo that he is also in. I know he's old, but damn. Also, it's a photo that also includes his other ex-wife. So there you go.
He's got a lot of ex-wives. I mean, at a certain point, it does get hard to keep track.
Get confused.
They
But
should
yeah,
have him draw a clock while he's doing this.
they said I passed it better than anyone they've ever
Don't worry,
seen.
it's water.
They said, sir, your brain, it still works. And it works pretty well.
It's a good
Pretty well.
brain.
One of
Good
the best.
brain.
But yeah, it's also the fact that his basis of innocence for himself is in at least one interview that Carol wasn't his type, therefore he couldn't assault her. The fact that he's getting her confused with someone that he married
Yeah.
is pretty telling.
That's the alpha move. This man's such an alpha.
Actually, I'm blind.
I mean, that's another thing. He apparently, he is apparently nearly blind, but out of vanity refuses to wear glasses.
Oh yeah, no.
That's like a long running
Don't
thing.
want to look like a dork.
Yeah. He's literally like the
Well, that's
The
why he has to
old-
write with a giant Sharpie.
the old trope of like the kid, they think the kid's illiterate, but the kid just needs glasses.
Yeah.
But he's an 80-year-old man.
Well, I do not want to see Trump put on glasses and become a genius. Whoa! Yikes! This is what people are saying about me? Ay, ay, ay.
No, that
So
would
over on
actually
the other
be
end of the news
hilarious.
cycle, Mark Zuckerberg desperately wants the world to know that he can absolutely kick your ass if you talk any of that shit about him that
Yeah.
you're talking.
He's coming for us.
Because, well, you studied the shit post. Mark studied the blade. He's been deeply involved in martial arts training for the past few years, and it appears as though the training has paid off.
Yeah.
Much to the dismay of onlookers, and certainly to the dudes who lost their matches against Mark Zuckerberg. Oof.
Yeah.
Here's The Guardian with more on this. Mark Zuckerberg is adding one more title to his resume. Medal-winning martial artist. The Facebook and Meta founder won gold and silver medals at his first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Redwood City, California, to the shock of many in the martial arts community and probably more widely. The 38-year-old tech billionaire said he took up an interest in the sport early on in the pandemic, and he posted his win on Instagram saying, "Competed in my first Jiu-Jitsu tournament and won some medals for the Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu team."
Good for him.
So yeah, keep talking that shit, see what happens. Yeah.
That's the last time. I like to think that this whole thing spawned from us and everyone else making fun of him for his water skiing photos, where he's got the sunscreen caked on.
Yeah.
That and it is funny that most people during the pandemic were like, "Yeah, I baked bread for the first time."
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, huh?
No.
The starter's like 40 years old. Pretty interesting that you can just bake bread in your house. Nobody knew this before the pandemic.
Nobody knew.
And Mark Zuckerberg's like, I want to learn how to.
I want to learn how to kill a man with my bare hands. No reason.
Oh
This might
man.
be fun.
Well, you studied the sourdough starter.
Yeah.
I studied jujitsu. But we should definitely round out the cast of characters in this episode by checking in on Alex Jones, who was recently the target of a devious prank that involved the voice and spoofed phone number of the recently fired Tucker Carlson. A content creator named Chris James, who goes by the moniker Prank Stallone, posted last week that, well, he did what his name suggests. He did a prank.
Yeah.
a prank which, at the time, sounded unbelievable and sounded like it was going to be better than it actually turned out to be. But shortly after he tweeted about it, Alex Jones confirmed that the prank actually took place by getting very publicly pissed off about the whole thing and dedicated an entire portion of his show to it. So here's the original post from last week. Okay, so let's say someone has Tucker Carlson's cell number, and also Alex Jones's cell phone number, and also an AI Tucker Carlson voice. They could, in theory, call Alex Jones and pretend to be Tucker and have a full conversation with him. Anyways, I just did that.
And to be honest, the end result isn't as hilarious or explosive as anyone hoped.
It's just too short. There's some funny moments, but Jones catches on pretty quick. and
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the prankster believed that Alex Jones would actually take the bait. So he only created a couple clips, including one where AI Tucker says he has a show idea where they could both be topless and suck each other's nipples. Jones then says they can do it on InfoWars. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, that was the funniest part.
The pre-made lines ran out pretty quickly, but still, the whole thing pissed Jones off really bad, and he wants the prankster arrested. So I guess overall, it was a success.
Hey, that's a successful prank. In the world of pranks, if the goal is to piss someone off,
Yeah.
that's a success.
The prank Stallone show is usually it's not necessarily prank calls. But the thing he does that's so interesting is his.
But finally today, some potential good news for angry airline travelers who had previously been left with little to no options when their flights are delayed or canceled. President Joe Brandon has announced that his administration will write new regulations that will require airlines to compensate air travelers and cover their meals and hotel rooms if they are stranded for reasons within the airline's control. Here's the Associated Press with more on that. The compensation would be in addition to ticket refunds when the airline is at fault for a flight being canceled or significantly delayed. It would give consumers in the United States protections similar to those in the European Union. I love that that's the basis for anything like decent that happens here. Even like
Oh yeah, it's look at us. We're finally catching up to the other countries who already have all this shit figured out.
the very minimal like California privacy laws with the internet is just like, it's a very small taste of what regulations look like.
Yeah, no, like the EU is like they've really come out as just like the baseline for like what sensible regulation is on most topics.
Yeah. Also, keeping an eye on how Twitter employees in the European Union,
Which is something, because remember, King Charles, like, it's just a fucking joke.
will come out on top of all of this when the dust settles. It should be interesting. Anyways, back to this. Quote, "I know how frustrated many of you are with the service you get from your U.S. airlines," Biden said. "That's why our top priority has been to get American air travelers a better deal." Biden added, "You deserve more than just getting the price of your ticket refunded. You deserve to be fully compensated. Your time matters. The impact on your life matters."
And so this is definitely
Hey,
like one of those I'll believe it when I see it moments, especially considering the person in charge of implementing this is Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah.
Ugh.
AOP.
Who, transportation secretary. I don't even know if he knows what that job entails. But anyway.
He's learning, baby. He's the Southwest debacle last year.
Trains? What does that have to do with me?
5 months.
Planes?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah. So anyway, we wouldn't get too excited about all this because the airlines can simply make up an excuse to absolve themselves of guilt, which is what they already do to avoid providing any compensation to travelers.
Yes.
The AP adds that officials at the Transportation Department, which will write the new rules, said they didn't have a precise date for when they expect to finish, but indicated they are working to quickly publish a notice that is required to get the process started. As outlined...
Oh, boy, ridiculous. Anyway, guys, my stomach is absolutely punching me, so I'm going to head out. You all have an excellent rest of your day and all that fun stuff. Peace out.